Wow, wait till you see this video and hear this story. I mean, all I've got to say is the times, they are a-changing. It involves the vice president for policy, whatever the hell that is, at a big hospital in northern New Jersey. And there was some kind of cop issue in the paper, and so she tossed off some smarmy comment to the effect of talking about cops, saying, who's going to train cops not to shoot black children first? Well, so she's in the healthcare thing. Before that, she was the assistant to the governor of New Jersey, John Corzine. And before that, she was the head of the lottery for 2 years. These are all intensely political jobs. And so she's living in a world where people toss off black people, and talking heads on TV toss off these vitriolic comments directed at cops, directed at white people, now directed at Asian people because of this thing happening at Harvard. She's living in a world where people toss off these vitriolic comments by the dozen, and nobody says anything. Well, I don't know what happened in New Jersey, but somebody's saying something. The cops are saying something. Cops got together, had a big rally, calling bullshit, part of my bad language, on this loser who works for this health system, who thought she could just say anything she wants about cops, about how they're racist, about they shoot people for no damn reason whatsoever. She was surprised at the pushback. Wow, all I can say is I'm surprised this thing even happened.
2 weeks ago, a senior vice president executive made an egregious comment on a post where they were going to put armed police officers in one of the school districts in New Jersey to protect the children due to the ongoing safety issues nationally. And her comment was that who's going to train them not to shoot black children? That's an egregious statement, especially coming from someone of her stature, a vice president of policy for our W.J. Barnabas Hospital. We're not here to make Miss Davis like the police. You know, she's shown her opinion of the police, through her post. Her apology was more or less because she got caught, not because it's an honest apology. You know, her first instinct was to lie and say her Facebook was hacked. A day later, she retracted that and apologized for the statement. Our major concern was the CEO of this network giving credibility to that statement, never denouncing it as non-factual, never saying it's a disgusting comment that doesn't belong in our organization, kind of doubled down and says they take the lead in social issues like violence, giving credibility to what she said. We would like a statement from the CEO of this organization saying they've looked into the facts of the matter of police shootings and utterly denounced her egregious comments.
A couple days later, the lovely and the goofy Micheline Davis was placed on administrative leave. She'll probably stay there for a day or two till they can slap her on the wrist, until she promises not to do it again. In the meantime, the hospital, I'm sure, what they will do if they stay to form, what the hospital will announce a whole series of racial initiatives at the hospital, lots of discussions, lots of seminars, lots of training, all meant to show that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why cops are always picking on black people, especially why black people don't get treatment in hospitals like that. I mean, that's how people roll. Isn't that right, Micheline? So finally, the cops are starting to wake up a little. The cops are woke. They're starting to call these people out who are attacking them. Cannot come too soon. Cannot come too often. But really, Micheline Davis isn't saying anything that people around the rest of the country aren't saying. I mean, down, I think, in Lexington, Kentucky, they're basically, this is every school district in the country now is doing this story every year, at least once a year. So in Lexington, they did a story, a big headline, where the people who run the school district are going, wow, black people only represent 20% of the district students in our district, but they're getting suspended 3, 4, 5, 10 times more than their representation suggests they should be. And they gave lots of numbers showing that black people are suspended, expelled, their academic performance is down. And not one person would stand up and say, well, we've got two solutions, we've got two reasons for this. One, everybody involved at that school, especially the white teachers, are nothing but a bunch of white racists who are picking on black people all the time for no reason whatsoever, kind of like cops always do. Or the second reason is that black students are misbehaving, acting out, acting criminally, violently in these schools, wildly out of proportion. That's the truth of it. Nobody will stand up and say that. Now we're going to have all these like seminars and meetings and things. You know, it's very difficult for a black person to get tossed out of school now. It's very difficult for them to be suspended. Even though we have a change in national administration at the local level, everybody's still convinced that black people are victims of white racism at school. So for you to get kicked out of school or suspended, you really got to work at it. So even though we have this bright light in New Jersey, where Micheline Davis, a big shot in a hospital system, and she had one of these, I think, Michelle Obama jobs that Michelle Obama had when she worked at a hospital in Chicago. Big title, big money. Nobody knows what the hell she did except show up and say black people are victims of white racism, and they go back to their office. And so, but for every one of these where people are pushing back, we still have 1,000 where public officials and teachers and other public and reporters are still just repeating the greatest lie of our generation, the hoax of black victimization. Because repeating this lie may have gotten Micheline Davis in a little bit of a jam, but in the rest of the country, it's pretty much guaranteed not to make the black kids angry.